as promised, it's now possible to create our own spatial data set. Shapefile is the most common format that we've been used to, and potentially convert that to a KML, to create one of these based upon what we see in this image. Very commonly, people will create new data sets using the process of heads-up digitizing from air photos, and might as well show one now. If, for instance, I had an interest in creating a new data set that represented building footprints in a particular region of western New York, I could zoom in close enough to see the building footprints, and using the same technique that I'm about to show you, I could trace and or outline each of these building footprints. So zooming in and zooming in again, I can actually see buildings, and it would be possible using the same heads-up digitizing technique to trace little polygons where every building footprint is, and that is actually commonly done, and I have done that frequently. So that's a more common, that's how road networks in data sets are often created, by looking at imagery and tracing the roads. That's about what we're going to do, except our source data is going to be the Raptors data set that I referred to, or that we have already georeferenced. So just like an imagery that we could call into this map project and consider it georeferenced, correctly geographically located, so we can trace over it, we can also trace over this. And that's what I'm going to do in this video. I'm going to go to the Art Catalog tool, and these are just procedures that that people learn with practice over time. And I'm showing just because I think it's important to know that there is a fixed procedure, and there's a certain number of steps behind doing something like this. I have a folder for this project, and in it I will create a brand new empty shapefile, and I think I can give it a decent name, and it will be a line feature, and I need to give it a coordinate system. That's something that we haven't emphasized dramatically this term. It is important, but I've tried to focus on understanding and learning rather than every single detail. A very common georeferencing system is UTM NAD83 zone 18N. That 18N is our particular location, eastern United States. So these things exist, and they're not the core of what I want to communicate this semester, but it is something that you should know that there is such a thing. So then I say OK, and it will give me a warning, which I'll ignore. And I now have a new shapefile available and it's loaded. If I open the attribute table by right-clicking on the name, I discover there's nothing there. It's a brand new shapefile, so I knew that. What I can do now is I can turn on my editor and ask for my Create Features menu and ask for lines to be drawn. And now I have a tool right here which allows me to draw lines. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw, and this is not going to be highly precise anyway, but I'm going to draw some lines, and I think I'll add another, and just to show you the point of what I'm doing, I'm going to add a line here, and I'm going to add another one here, and I am differentiating amongst different pathways and different thicknesses are going to be assigned different values in the long run. And I'm going to pause the video now while I continue this process to some sort of a conclusion. At this point, I've finished tracing over the flyway routes in the eastern United States, and they certainly could use a little bit of editing. I'll do that on my own time before I release this data set tomorrow or so. So this is the eastern United States, and it is now actually a shapefile, and one could take this data set, and I would prefer it to be touched up a little bit first. One could take this data set and put it into a map that could become part of the ArcGIS Online mapping, and then become one of the components of a storybook about migratory bird routes, raptors particularly. And of course, each of these lines could be assigned attributes with respect to what are the dominant species of birds that are flying them, what the number or relative number or quantity are. But we're going to stick with we're not going to do this as a master's thesis. We're just sticking with this as a learning exercise for the beginnings of this course. There's one, I'm going to save that for the next video.